Throughout the course of history, human inquisition and innovation have allowed us to push the bounds of humanity and what we thought possible. We have discovered new planets and whole universes that exist millions of miles away. But perhaps the most startling scientific advancement was the uncovering of the microscopic world and all of its vast phenomenon that lay just within our reach, a world left undiscovered until the creation of the microscope in 1590.
The origins of the microscope extend far back in time, having their roots to the Roman era. During the 1st century AD, Romans experimented with the properties of the newly discovered invention glass. They eventually discovered how glass could be used to magnify objects. These were appropriately named lenses, derived from the Latin word lentil from its shape. However, it was only until the end of the 13th century were lenses used more commonly, often as glasses. Around 1590, Zacharias Janssen and his father Hans, two Dutch spectacle makers, were experimenting with lenses when they discovered a new method to produce a high magnification. By stacking the lenses on top of each other in a tube, the object was immensely enlarged, much more than any previous device. This was the first known microscope, or microscope that contains two or more lenses. However, early microscopes, or flea glasses, could only enlarge objects so much, and were used to frequently examine insects and other objects of the same size.
The evolution of the microscope has technologically changed over time, with each new model stretching the bounds of microscopic science. Around the 1660s, a Dutch lens enthusiast, Antoine van Leeuwenhoek, radicalized the path of microscopes forever. He was responsible for the creation of a rounder glass lens that was able to produce an unprecedented 270 times magnification, allowing the user to see bacteria, blood cells, and even many tiny animals swimming in a drop of water. The binocular stereoscope microscope, created in 1677, used transmitted light at a higher magnification to observe objects. In 1828, the polarizing microscope was invented, allowing crystalline structures to be observed by multiplying light emission. During 1873, microscopes were able to observe fluorescent emitted samples by using special types of light sources, including mercury lamps, known as fluorescent microscope. The transmission electron microscope, invented in 1931, emits electron beams instead of light beams to magnify the image. The phase contrast microscope was innovated in 1933 and could convert shifts of light to change images in brightness. The laser microscope, created in 1969, could use laser beams to view clear images of dense samples. In 1980, the atomic force microscope could scan the surface of objects to measure fine spaces with a probe. The multiphoton excitation microscope, innovated in 1990, was able to use excitation lasers, reducing cell damage, and observe high-resolution structures of deep areas. The microscope has evolved over time to the current model known as the Titan 8300, which can observe the depth between atoms. Inventing the microscope has revolutionized the science industry.
This technology has had many positive applications which have helped lead to new discoveries in many fields. However, there are some minimal negative effects on the environment. Compound microscopes are a key resource that has helped to create genetically modified organisms. GMOs are able to preserve specimens 3 times longer than normal and can increase production, quantity, and grant immunity to diseases. However, it has been disputed that GMOs could potentially harm the fragile environment and human health. The electron microscope has been one of the largest advancements to subatomic science and is known for its superb discoveries. Even though electron microscopes require toxic chemicals to operate and release radiation, their effects have been minimized by the precautions taken to reduce biological harm. Microscopes have been used to study ecosystems, determining the health of the environments and habitats of places. It has also improved medical science, with the compound microscopes allowing doctors to identify abnormal cells. The microscope is an invention which has allowed scientists to clarify and uncover data, providing use for many sciences.
Turn of the century, microscopy has made huge advancements that allow researchers to see smaller and smarter. This began quickly after the turn of the century with the invention of the liquid lens by Bruno Berge, which can quickly and precisely focus the z-axis for high-precision images. Later in the decade, Associate Professor Shang Yu-run and his team developed a microscope capable of video on the nanoscopic level. He is also currently developing systems capable of video in the femtoseconds. This new microscope allows researchers to observe the interactions of individual molecules and atoms. On May 2, 2017, the journal Nature Communications made an article describing how, with current technology, the microscope slide can be modified to take the temperature of specimens in tandem with imaging them. Rather recently, on April 19, 2018, Eric Betzig and his colleagues published their finding on the development of a microscope that can record incredibly clear 3D video of cells to the journal Science. Since the turn of the century, microscopes have made leaps and bounds, now capable of amazing feats no one could imagine. The microscope is still being improved even after 1900 years. Okay.
Today, a majority of microscopes are manufactured in Germany, Japan, and China, making them considerably less expensive and far more accessible than ever before. They are used as valuable learning tools in many schools and frequently used in lab experiments in modern science. The ability to have access to important microscopic data has allowed for radical strides in the scientific realm, particularly in the genetic and medical fields. Modern innovation has continued to improve the microscope, stretching its optical limitations. The future of the microscope is difficult to predict, as fast as the microscope of modern innovation is constantly creating new and improved designs. The microscope benefits have outweighed its minimal negative impacts and been essential innovation in the progress of society.